Adeline Maria Gray is an American freestyle wrestler, a six-time world champion, two-time Olympian, and the silver medal last year in the Tokyo Olympic Games. Mother of soon-to-be twins, and our next guest on In Our Prime.
Adeline Gray.
Adeline Gray.
In Our Prime. Thank you so much for coming back and joining us. We are here. We're excited for season 2.
Season 2 is great.
Yeah, so far so good. And we are so excited to be joined by Adeline Gray. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me. Season 2 is exciting.
Thank you so much. We were nervous. We weren't going to have a season 2, but people are saying yes. So
the fans just want it. They're pounding down the door.
Oh, good.
Well, thank you so much. And I have to say, I love your hair.
Oh, thank you.
When you were competing, and I was like, oh, I'm loving this blonde, like the ombre. So you look absolutely fabulous. But it's 2022. How are you doing?
Great. I've had some big changes this year. We had obviously a huge year last year with the Olympics and the World Championships. It was just kind of like a bombardment of recovering from some of the COVID restrictions and trying to fit in all the training, and then having this schedule that just was kind of like smashed all into one year. Like we usually do one major tournament a year, and to go from the Olympics to the World Championships in like just a 2-month time period was really a lot. And I hope I never have to do something like that again. It was really too much, but no, overall I came back with 2 medals, and I'm really excited. And then came home and I got pregnant. So that's really exciting. I have 2 babies, and they're twins, and I'm so pumped to just kind of start a new adventure with them.
That's is awesome. So exciting. I can't believe I didn't know that you were having twins. That is, do twins run in your family?
They do. My dad's a twin, but it's still like my mom's family has no twins. And my sisters and I have always talked about one of us having twins for this to be like the first time any of us have a pregnancy. And all of a sudden we're like, ooh, we're starting off with twins.
Starting off with a bang. I love it. I do want to shift really quick. You came home with 2 Olympic medals?
So 1 Olympic medal, and then we only have 1 opportunity to win a medal at the Olympics. So I took silver at our Olympic event, and then I won the World Championships.
Oh, I knew about the World Championships. Okay, yeah. So because they were both in the same year, that's how you got it. Okay, yeah. So you are a 6-time national competitor.
So 6-time world champion.
That's nothing.
I knew it. I read it, and I was like, I'm gonna let her brag on herself, because I was like, it said 6 times, and I was like, I'm pretty sure she won them. I'm pretty sure she's like the bomb.com. That's amazing. I have to say. Now we both know each other through the New York Athletic Club, and yes. I was so blessed to meet you. Unfortunately, through Zoom, but it was awesome to talk to you, get your perspective, kind of get an understanding of your training. How was it to train all that time and, get that Olympic silver medal?
I think like most of us, the pandemic was such a huge curveball, and it's a weird thing because I feel like I'm a little bit more open to talking about it now because people are like recovering and getting their jobs back and stuff like that. But during the moment, like my life didn't feel as important because there were people who literally lost their whole livelihoods. And so it is such an interesting kind of perspective to kind of take some time to be like, wow, like we didn't have opportunities like we are used to. And I didn't notice how many support systems truly were there until all of a sudden they shut their doors and they were like, figure it out. And we were training in our living rooms and stuff like that. So it wasn't ideal conditions leading up to the Olympics. We did the best we could the few months leading up to it when things were starting to open up, and it kind of got to crunch time, and enough people stepped in and was like, no, we need some bare minimum opportunities for these athletes to be on wrestling mats and have, training partners. But overall, like the training during the pandemic was just kind of at a standstill. Like we were doing mental work because you just couldn't, lift. You couldn't do some of the activities that we were used to. And wrestling is a combat sport that is very intimate, like we are face to face with someone. And so you can't just go outside and go for a run. It's breathing on another person. And so, yeah, the lead up to it definitely just felt overwhelming, and like, hopefully we're doing it better than everyone else is and being asked to still perform at a top level.
That's awesome. And you came out with a silver medal. That's absolutely incredible. So I feel like I'm envisioning you like wrestling with like a pillow, or like one of like your roommates or something. That's what I'm assuming, because I'm just like in my living room, I was trying to high jump over my couch and my bed. So I'm like, I
had to hold a freaking Swiffer.
Yeah, like it's like we all had to, make it work. So a silver medal, congratulations. That's absolutely amazing. And now it's time for the random question from my husband.
You wrestled in high school, correct?
Yes.
Was there not a stigma, but were boys afraid to wrestle you? Did you wrestle? I don't know, it goes state by state. I know you're from Colorado. So in New Jersey, there is no boys and girls division. Everyone's lumped together. So like girls have boys.
We were lumped together as well. So I wrestled on the boys team. I was one of the only women on varsity in the whole state. And so it was unusual for a boy to come up and wrestle a girl. And so I think there still was like this kind of tension of I still had teams that were kind of like, we're not going to wrestle girls. And so there were some matches that I didn't get the opportunity to wrestle in because boys were just like, no, we don't know what's happening and our coaches aren't making us, so we're not going to. And I just think there was like a miscommunication in leadership there, truly. Like these athletes were teenage boys who anything's uncomfortable if you tell them it is. And so the fact that we were out there as athletes, but I had a really great support system kind of centrally in Denver of athletes and coaches and referees and people that understood that I was just out there to be an athlete. And so that opportunity to step on the mat and go to toe with somebody wasn't always about winning and losing, but just getting better at wrestling. And that ended up taking me so far through my life that I'm still like, I'm 31 and still wrestling. So it's so much bigger than just a high school wrestling match. Like I got my undergrad and my master's paid for through this sport. And it was just a really cool opportunity that I got opened up to and had some talent in, and I just didn't have the opportunity to wrestle my own gender. And so at the time it was just a moment that we had to wrestle boys.
Yeah.
And where did you go for college?
So I actually made my first senior world team when I was in high school. So I moved to the Olympic Training Center right out of high school, and I went online for school for so
Wikipedia said DeVry, and I'm like, I didn't know DeVry had a wrestling team. So I'm like, I gotta make sure I ask her that, because that's okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, so I actually did both my undergrad and my master's online, and it was great. I started at University of Colorado, kind of a traditional brick and mortar school, and because it wasn't like a school sport, they just didn't really have the passion to help me, and our travel schedule is so crazy that it is understandable for teachers who aren't forced to kind of make adjustments for those athletes. I wasn't considered like an athlete in their eyes, which is just an interesting conversation when you start to realize that you are on Team USA. So I did have to transition to fully online and ended up loving it. So when everyone had to switch to online during the pandemic and freaked out, I'm like, it's gonna be okay. I was like, it was actually really great for me.
You'll survive, you'll get through it. Oh wow, that's absolutely incredible. Awesome.
Yeah, I double checked. I was like, oh, okay.
DeVry has their first Olympic athlete from their wall of fame. I do want to switch because I was super excited about this, and now that I know you're having twins, I have to ask you about motherhood. And the number one question that I always ask mothers is, how are you doing? You personally, physically, mentally, as an athlete transitioning, how are you doing?
I'm great, actually. I'm really blessed and healthy and happy and so excited to be starting this journey with my husband. This is something we wanted to do right after 2020. And then when the pandemic got pushed back, it was weird to start training and be like, I'm supposed to be pregnant right now. Like I'm not supposed to be training. And so, yeah, and I kind of had that on my mind the whole year that what if it takes us a while to get pregnant? What if, if whatever happened, in the future, we wanted to start a family, and my husband's a few years older than I am. And so we were just kind of ready to take that next step. And so the fact that it's here and everything's been running smooth and healthy has been so great. There are some like normal aches and pains. I have like round ligament pain, which I guess 10 to 30% of pregnant women get. But you have this like
children. I know nothing about this. What's that mean?
I didn't know anything about it either. There's like a ligament in your stomach that as it stretches, it's like 2 inches on everyone before you get babies and everything. And then it stretches up to 8 inches when you're like fully pregnant. And I just get this like sharp pain. If you ever seen like a pregnant woman stand up and like grab her stomach, be like, ow. Yeah. That's the round ligament pain most of the time. You just have this like little cramp that pulls. It's almost like you feel your hip flexor like cramp on you is kind of how I would describe it, but it's just higher in your stomach or kind of that psoas area. And so I keep having moments where like I am in the middle of a workout and I'll stand up just like a little bit too fast, and then I'll bend over and everyone's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine, actually. It just hurts sometimes.
You're still working out.
Yeah, I am. So I'm actually still lifting like 3 or 4 days a week right now, and then cardio 2 or 3 days. So it's just trying to stay in shape for the pregnancy and the birth, and then hopefully the comeback.
Cool.
Yes,
awesome.
Queen.
Answered already one of my questions.
I haven't even ran yet, and I literally feel like such a loser because we're growing 2 humans, and I'm eating on the couch. So I'm
eating on the couch too. That's a good place to be as well.
That is so awesome. I'm super, super excited. Thank you so much. Do you have any more questions?
Yeah, I got like 30.
Okay, you get one more.
Only one?
Yes, you have one more.
2-parter. This is my little loophole.
Sorry.
1, worst pains, wrestling pains or pregnancy pains?
Stop. Remember your question. Go ahead.
I haven't gone through birth yet, and I'm only about halfway through my pregnancy. So far, wrestling's been a lot more painful. My body's just starting to go through the major changes and things, but I have a feeling that this second half of the process is going to be a lot more to deal with. And then physically getting the children out of me, I think is where that torture kind of comes in, and you earn that love.
Feel wonderful birth. It's going to be pain-free, right? Like that. Talk to yourself.
Nope. Like I can do this, yeah.
Second question, let's go.
If the WWE comes calling, would you answer? Is that something you'd want to do and shift your wrestling career?
So I've actually done a tryout with the WWE before. It wasn't for me. I do think it's a viable option for athletes in the future. And we have actually an Olympic champion who just decided to go over to WWE, and I think he's going to do great things. Right now, Gable, it's confusing. There's 2 guys named Gable. Chad Gable is one of the athletes who's like doing well in the WWE right now. And he was a 2008 Olympian who I actually was at Northern Michigan with for a few years. And then the Gable, who just won the Olympics, is actually headed over to the WWE. But I didn't grow up with it, and my parents weren't really into WWE. And I always kind of like fought it a little bit because people used to ask me like, oh, you like hit people with chairs, right? And I used to be like, no, I do like real wrestling. Like I do Olympic style, freestyle wrestling. And so it's always so funny when like I became an adult and realized that it's like WWE is not the enemy. It's not just because people made jokes about me doing WWE didn't make my sport any less real. Yeah. But now sitting in a situation where the WWE is like bringing over some really great athletes, it's kind of fun to be involved and do that. But it just wasn't the right fit for what I wanted in my life.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. I'm super excited to have you. Thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with us and letting us pick your brain a little bit. If people want to follow you, what is the best way for them to follow your journey?
I would love for people to follow this journey. It's going to be interesting for sure. I would say Instagram is probably my most used platform, but all of my social media, Instagram, Twitter, everything is just my name at Adeline Gray. So I would love to have some new people check in and see the progress of what the workouts kind of look like over the next few months. And then hopefully 2 bouncing babies, 1 boy, 1 girl, and then moving on to seeing about making a wrestling career.
Yes, I absolutely, absolutely love it. We will definitely tag all of your social media accounts underneath here. Adeline, thank you so much. We are praying for you, giving you nothing but light and love.
The healthy birthing process.
And if you need babysitters, they're here. There's 2 of us, so we're not outnumbered. That's all we need to make sure.
Exactly.
That's all we need. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and we wish you nothing but the success in your future.
Thank you. It's so good to see you guys.
Great to see you as well.